to we're on our last team, the Denver Broncos. We're on our last team, the Denver Broncos here. Aaron, there was a tight end. There's a tight end in Denver that I vaguely remember, and I chatted with you a little bit about this earlier today. And I vaguely remember you bringing up Albert O as a sleeper tight end target to watch this season. Russell Wilson now at the helm in Denver. Are you still on that? Am I remembering things correctly that Albert O is a sleeper tight end for you?
Yeah, sleeper. I mean, when we talk about sleepers and we talk about tight ends, first of all, you're not getting one of the top 4 or 5 tight ends. It's start throws, right? We say, who's going to be the great tight end this week? My biggest thing here is now he has a quarterback, right? Now the tight end position. If this was Noah Fant, I would be all over Noah Fant. I mean, I'd be drafting him in every league. But Albert O has shown to be a valuable piece in that offense. They really, really like him there. I think having a Russell Wilson is going to help his fantasy, quote, outlook. By no means when I say sleeper, am I saying Albert O is going to finish as a top 10 tight end. No, I'm not even saying that. I'm saying there are going to be weeks where Albert O is the one that you're like, man, I'm putting him in my lineup because he's had a couple of good weeks in a row or whatever. This goes to our fantasy show. When we do our weekly fantasy show, when we're putting that kind of 10 through 15 when I'm ranking them, Albert O will be in there a lot this year because I think that's kind of where his value will be. He'll be a quality tight end 2, where sometimes some weeks he'll have tight end 1 numbers. But yeah, so where he's being drafted, again, I'm not sure where he's being drafted currently.
Right now, he is being drafted as the tight end 18. So he's really not being drafted.
Okay, that's better than I thought he was actually being drafted at. Closer to where I have him is more, maybe it's not so much of a sleeper, but I'd probably put him right around tight end 14, 13, 14, 15 on most weeks. With Russell Wilson, I think he gets more. He had some good weeks last year. If he gets 5 to 6 targets, I think he'll have quality tight end weeks. Finds the end zone every now and then. That's a good week for a tight end. We get lost in tight end numbers in fantasy with the Travis Kelce's, the Darren Wallers, the George Kittles of the world. And we forget when you look at the 10th rate tight end for that week, he had 4 catches, 46 yards. And you're like, wait, what? That was the number 10 tight end that week? Yeah, that was the number 10 tight end that week. Yeah. So I think he'll have a lot of those.
That sucks for me because when I have to make the graphics for Pigskins and Pancakes, I'm going to have to type out Albert O. and his full name.
Oga would you banana?
Oh, wow. I don't know.
It's Okwuji Bunam or something like that.
We'll have it by fantasy season.
Don't lie to me. It's going to be out on the I'll just have to say Albert O on TV, and then the graphic will have to just say the whole entire name. But I'm just bummed out that I got to spell out Albert O and make sure I spell it properly. Under 8 times I spell it wrong. I'm taking the over.
I might be able to help you with that though.
Copy and paste is a drug.
Not that at all. I think the name you might be typing out more often though is Greg Dulcich. I think that might be the guy. I think that he's going to step in pretty well. I mean, as a receiving tight end, I think they're going to end up using Albert O more as a blocker, and then he'll have his opportunities and he'll sneak out. But I mean, you look at what.
Why does everybody think Albert O is a blocker? He's not a blocker.
Everybody used him as a blocker a lot last season. I mean, last season he only had 33 catches on the entire year.
He was a backup tight end.
Yeah, and I mean, if they thought that he was going to be the guy to come in.
Name one backup tight end in the NFL that gets 33 catches.
It's a backup a tight end. Like, why am I spending time on backup tight ends?
So to your point, last year as a backup, not even a clear-cut starter, he got 33 catches. We're talking about guys like Marquez Valdez-Scantling who are wide receivers that barely get 33 catches.
But he got those on the weeks that Noah Fant wasn't in.
No,
it wasn't like Noah Fant was there chilling and he's like, not you, buddy.
No, you're wrong. Go check the game logs. Albert O played a lot, and he was going out for passes. It was not just get in there and block. He is a guy that they like in Denver. It's the reason why they were okay with trading a Noah Fant. Remember, they used a high draft pick on Noah Fant.
And then they went and brought in more tight ends.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying
what-
going into the season with just Alberto. That's not what I'm saying at all. However, I don't think you go and get a guy like Greg Dulcich, who we were pretty high on in the draft process, and a guy who's used to stretch the field. This man averaged 18 yards per catch last season and 10 touchdowns over the past 2. Like, he's not a guy they're bringing in. Like, I can't wait to see what you can do.
That's
like
nice.
They are already enjoying him.
That's nice. Playing at UCLA in the Pac-12, you're going to tell me, oh, he went to 18 yards a catch and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's cool. Like,
cool.
What is that supposed to mean to me?
Cool. It's supposed to mean that they're going to enjoy
I ask you again. How many rookie tight ends in the NFL are impactful? It doesn't happen.
Kyle Pitts.
They don't even play. Kyle Pitts is the even TJ Hawkinson. Those were top 10 picks. Like, you're not seeing the third round tight end that's coming in and he's showing out like on his rookie year. It doesn't.
Did I say number NFL. 1 pass catcher? No,
but you said
I think he can take over Alberto. Absolutely think he can take over Alberto.
We've talked plenty of tight ends at this point. I'm glad I started the show off talking absurdly about a tight end, and now I'm ending the show talking about a tight end. Not to mention,
Alberto will be a top tight end this year. He'll be a top 10 tight end.
Alberto?
Who?
Yep. Alberto will be a top 10 tight end at the end of this year.
Great. Ooh, it's going to be a great offense because Greg Dulcich is going to be a top 8.
Well, I'll give you this little number. Last year, the 10th ranked tight end finished the season with 164 points. That's 9 points a week. Alberto will finish in the top 10 in tight ends.
Well, let's not forget that the Denver Broncos did bring in blocking tight end Eric Tomlinson at the end of free agency this year. It's a very big deal for their blocking for Russell Wilson. Let's end this on a better note here. Instead of talking about Alberto in the tight end position, Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, they're going very close to each other in fantasy drafts. You talked to Aaron. You are very high on Courtland Sutton. You didn't mention you said Jerry Jeudy was closer to your bottom 8. They're going right now. Courtland Sutton is, let's see. Courtland Sutton, where art thou? There you are. Wide receiver 27 for Courtland Sutton and wide receiver 29 for Jerry Jeudy. Anybody, this is going to be the toss-up of the night. Someone slam dunk at home. What separates Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton in fantasy football this year?
All right. Well, I guess I thought he was going to want to take that alley because he's all high on Courtland Sutton. I'll actually go with the Jerry Jeudy side of things, and I think it'll be the targets. Jerry Jeudy's been a target monster. Unfortunately for Jerry Jeudy, he's dealt with some drops. But, I mean, as you continue to grow and now have a better quarterback, I think you start to see some of those drops fade. I don't think that's something you worry about as often. I think he's going to be a target hog, and we can see what he can do in the open field with the ball. I do think that they are deservedly so that close. Because, again, there's a lot of weapons on this offense. I know you didn't ask about him, but people are still excited about Tim Patrick and what he can be, and he's a third receiver in the entirety of the Denver Broncos. And if you want to throw a last name out there, KJ Hamler stretches the field. So, yeah. So I think Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton, the separation becomes the targets. It just depends on if Jerry Jeudy will be efficient enough with those targets and opportunities that he get. And I'll let Aaron take over Courtland Sutton.
I think the difference is the touchdowns. And I think Courtland Sutton is going to be I don't want to equate it to what Seattle did in like a Lockett and DK Metcalf, but Jerry Jeudy is a premier route runner in the NFL. He's going to get targets. But I think the big plays are going to come from a Courtland Sutton. I think those 60-yard bombs that Russell likes to throw up in the air, I think those are Courtland Sutton plays. And I think that's going to end up being the difference. I see Courtland Sutton touching double-digit touchdowns this year, and I think that's really the difference between them. The reason they're being drafted so close is because you are running into a situation where no one knows what we're going to see yet. I like the skill set of a Courtland Sutton, and I love Jerry Jeudy's natural ability to run routes and catch passes and things like that. But I think what fits with Russell, I think it's Courtland Sutton fits a little bit more with Russell's style.
Do you guys think we could end up seeing, and maybe warn fantasy owners now, that we could end up seeing exactly what we saw in Seattle? And Dylan harps on this all the time, whereas DK Metcalf 1 week and Tyler Lockett the next
week.
There's
nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm not saying there is. I'm not saying there is. But is that something we should be expecting this year from the Denver Broncos with Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy?
It feels like that. And one of the reasons I'll tell you why is because for them, it's not about fantasy. Like Russell Wilson ain't going out there thinking about all the people that drafted Courtland Sutton. He's out there thinking, I've got toys to play with, and I want to throw the ball to every single one of them. So, yeah, 1 week, Courtland Sutton's going to ball out. Another week, Jeudy's going to ball out. 1 week, Jeudy's going to have 13 catches, and Courtland Sutton's going to have 3 touchdowns. Like, Russell Wilson would do whatever he can do to firstly win games, and that's going to affect the fantasy squad. That's why they're being drafted so high. If you see it, I can almost guarantee once one of those go, you can expect the other to go probably the next 2 picks because they don't want to miss out on what the potential of this offense can be, in my humble opinion.
I think that's spot on. I think you're going to have weeks like that, and it's probably going to be close to what Seattle had. But I'm loving that if I'm a fantasy owner. Like, who is ever complaining about DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett being wide receiver 2s? Like,
Dylan.
We can talk about inconsistency in weeks, but we've gone over this 1,000 times. Every wide receiver outside your top, 10 are going to be inconsistent and have inconsistent weeks. It's as simple as that. You're not going to get around it. Give me a wide receiver 2, 3 at the end of the day, and I'll be happy. And I think both of those guys could end up being that if their offense goes the way it's supposed to go.
Let's break it down in stupid math like I like. If the wide receiver is every other game producing great numbers, that's 50% of the season doing great things. If I can have a wide receiver at a consistency level of 50% for the season doing great things, I'm going to be a happy camper.